You're listening to Cinematic Adventures, proud member of the Misfit Faction Media Network.
Good morning, Vietnam!
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
Badges? We don't need no badges. I don't have to show you any stinking badges.
You make me want to be a better man.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
He's looking at you, kid.
I've always depended on the kindness. Strange.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Would you be shocked if I put on something more comfortable?
You know how to whistle, don't you, Steve? You just put your lips together and blow.
I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cinematic Adventures. If you're taking us on the go, you can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and anywhere you can find podcasts. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Paul, and with me tonight is just Sean. Sean, how are you today?
Just me?
Just you.
Oh, just me. I'm good. I'm very good. How about you?
I can't complain. We're still in our Star Wars month, so this is fun.
I mean, it's still early. You can complain a little if you want.
I could, but we don't. We only have so much time left.
I
in the
know.
night.
We're on the clock here.
We are kind of on the clock. At some point, you're going to hear the rest of the podcast just come downstairs. Yeah, I got to get one of those on air, like a red light.
Red light.
Yeah,
red light on. You can't enter the studio.
Yep. The basement. But anyway.
It's a studio.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
I worked really hard on it. I got to paint again. But anyway, we are back. We are here. It is just me and Sean tonight. This is the first time in
over a month.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we did 5 episodes with Melanie.
Which we enjoyed doing very much.
Oh, yeah. But and then we did an episode, if you guys haven't checked it out, with our friend Brendan, who runs Blind Bet 1987, I believe is the YouTube channel.
I don't.
But
remember.
You can actually find a link on the Misfit Faction Facebook page that takes you to a YouTube video that we put together. Nowhere near his quality, but I tried my best.
And it was a valiant effort, sir.
You haven't watched it yet, but I appreciate the lie.
There you go.
Yeah, you know what, though? It's funny because I hate listening to myself or watching myself. Most people do. Apparently that's like it's a normal thing, but like even when I do editing, I try not to listen.
I despise the way my voice sounds.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. But we are back, and we are here, and we are excited.
I'm excited.
Because we're talking more Star Wars. Now, don't forget, guys, we're doing Star Wars for the entire month. We did A New Hope last week. We're doing Empire Strikes Back tonight, Return of the Jedi next week, and then we are doing
a little bit of a surprise.
Not even. I think we should probably tell them what it is so they have time to see it, because it's definitely
we're 2 weeks away.
A lesser known gem.
All right, so the movie we're gonna do in the final week of May kind of doesn't harken back to Mel Brooks, but it's a comedy. I believe it came out in 2008.
That sounds like a great time.
Now, it was filmed like 2 years earlier, but it didn't actually get released until much later. And that is the movie Fanboys. And I guarantee about 95% of the people listening are probably like, what is that? Well, Fanboys is a sort of low-budget movie that, teen comedy, which depicts a group of friends back in 1999 who come up with the brilliant idea to
storm the Lucas Ranch.
Storm the Lucas Ranch and steal a copy of Phantom Menace.
Now, we won't give away too much of the plot, but there's
a
the reason.
Basics.
There is a reason for it, which is explained in the movie, and it's just such a Star Wars love letter.
It is perfect word. It is a love letter to Star Wars. George Lucas, as he did with Spaceballs, absolutely enjoyed the movie. He read the script and he really enjoyed it, and he actually allowed them.
They shot additional footage, and they were allowed to use... Did
they actually shoot at Lucas's ranch, or they just were able to look at it and rebuild sets? I'm not 100%
I'm pretty sure
on.
just sets.
Just sets. So they actually got to see what the ranch looks like, and so when you see this movie and you see the scenes inside the ranch, that is exactly what the ranch looks like. And there's just some great, references to the movies, just fun, inside jokes. It's a fun movie.
If you're a Star Wars fan and you have not seen Fanboys,
surprising,
you're really missing out.
You're missing out.
It did come out limited.
It's like a Star Trek fan who's not seen Galaxy Quest.
Trekker is the preferred term.
Well, Star Trek fan.
That's a line from Fanboys.
I know.
But I say we watch that tomorrow.
That's a good one.
Yeah, but we actually had to go to a theater that does limited releases.
You can find that movie in theaters. So yeah, we had to find a theater that just
drove about like 40 minutes.
That's big on those low budget movies that the big theaters won't bother wasting a theater on.
It is available on Amazon to rent. It's $3.99. Well worth it.
It is well worth it. It is it's surprising it's not on any streamer.
I couldn't find it.
Oh wow! With all the streamers that are out there, you would think it's on one of them.
Yeah, but it's also, I think it's Miramax. So I think there's that.
Yeah.
But
Disney doesn't own Miramax anymore.
No. So that is our plan for the month.
We highly recommend you find it and maybe check it out. It's worth watching at least once in your lifetime.
I mean, the cast alone, like it is. Yeah. It's got
it's got Seth Rogen in it before he really was Seth Rogen.
Yeah, this was like pre-big Seth Rogen days.
This was
Danny McBride. You have Cliff Robertson. A lot of mostly cameos,
but the Danny Trejo.
We don't want to tell you any of the big ones in case you do want to see the movie, but some really like Joe
Kevin
Latruglia.
Smith, Jason Mewes cameo in it.
Oh yeah, and the guy with the donkey.
Yes, the guy with the donkey.
Sweet and woman-like. But so that's our plan for the month. We just kind of wanted to let you guys know now. So if you wanted to take time to check the Fanboys out,
and if you're wondering why we would choose that movie, well, a number of options. A, we both like that movie thoroughly, so we're like, okay, this makes sense. B, with only 1 week left in the month, it makes no sense
to start another
trilogy, and then we don't know when we're going to end up doing the next trilogy
next year during Star Wars month.
If so that was our main, to start with a comedy and end with a comedy for Star Wars month, kind of, it bridged the gap.
And also, it's a testament to the actual franchise. Like we talked last week of how influential Star Wars has been, and it's a love letter to the original trilogy. Because again, it takes place before the prequel trilogy came out. And so, if you're any sort of like nerd or like convention kind of person, like it's right up your alley. So
it is.
We'll definitely have a lot of fun.
That was an interesting couple years there when certain movies were coming out that we had no expectations. I put it there with Clerks 2, Euro Trip, and just movies that just surprised us,
and movies that we still
watch today. We quote and we watch them every now and then because we find them.
It'd be a really fun month, summer vacation month, where we just do movies like Euro Trip, Road Trip, like movies where people are traveling, like a travel.
Wild Hogs.
Have you seen Wild Hogs?
Hot Tub Time Machine. They technically do travel in that movie.
Yeah, but they stay in the same place. We'll do a time travel month. That'd be fun, actually. I also would at some point, like we've been throwing around a lot of ideas for bonus episodes, and one I think would be a lot of fun would be movies where the sequel was so much worse, and then one where
sequels are better.
Well, yeah, we could do both. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
That would be a good topical episode, like a good YouTube video,
or even better. Movies where the sequels are the exact same as the first. You got your Hangover 2, Hot Tub Time Machine 2.
No, Hot Tub Time Machine 2 was just straight garbage.
Yeah, it was straight garbage. There's like
Hangover 2.
There's like
garbage.
There's like 7 good scenes in Hot Tub Time Machine 2
and
that I enjoy.
That's being
super generous.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But so we are going to jump right into our topic. I'm super excited because
I am too.
Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. One of the most depressing Star Wars movies of all time.
It's the second act of a play, man. Everything goes to hell.
Yeah.
Star Wars was an uplifting movie. There was really, obviously the death of Obi-Wan was a downer, but for the most part that movie was straight adventure, straight
fantasy. It was the good guys won.
Yep. And this movie just basically from the minute it starts, you're just like, I don't know where this is going, but like you're kind of on the edge of your seat, like, oh, what's going to happen?
The rebels are getting their asses kicked.
Pretty much. Darth Vader's much angrier.
And he seems bigger, too.
He's bigger, and I think I don't know if he's more powerful, but he's definitely more in charge.
Well, we're going to talk about that, because I think that also has something to do with the technology of the time.
Probably.
So the thing I love, the only thing that would have made this movie more bleak at the end would be if a xenomorph dropped down as they're all standing there looking out the window. this movie, it ends on such a downer.
It ends on a downer. It does, and again, it's a perfect. Why am I blanking? A cliffhanger.
I would agree. Yeah.
It's. I mean, not a. It's a cliffhanger in the sense. Again, we assume you've seen the movies, so
Spoiler
alert. Han is frozen in carbonite. Obviously, he's alive in the carbonite. They
in perfect hibernation.
Perfect hibernation. So you got that going for you. But it's like, okay, is he gonna live? What's gonna happen with Luke and Leia? What's gonna happen with Lando and Chewbacca? You don't know. You have no idea where this story is going to go after this movie ends.
So we're not gonna go full plot because this movie is just so much.
And again, we're assuming
you've seen it.
We're assuming you're listening to these podcasts. Yes, there are certain movies where we're going to go over the plot because they might be movies that me and Paul might enjoy, but we kind of sense that not everybody knows what we're talking about. This is
because also we look at this movie. This movie has so much. Like the technical background, the production, the staying power.
We want to talk about all that stuff and not go too crazy on the plot.
So we are going to talk. I think we're going to do the same structure we did for A New Hope, where we're going to do maybe like 10-15 minutes of production and how the movie got made and all that sort of stuff. Talk about the cast, both the returning and the new. And then we'll maybe do favorite scenes.
Definitely.
To wrap it up, because that way you kind of also get the idea of the plot. But let's do a little production talk. Anything? Where do you want to start with the production of this movie?
Well, I mean, the number one, we did kind of talk about it last week, but obviously the big noticeable change is George Lucas is not in the director's chair for this movie. It is a man by the name of Irvin Kershner, who was actually, I believe, George Lucas's teacher at USC Film School when Lucas was a student there. Kershner himself is a director, and he did very more dramatic films, very character-driven dramatic films. So I think it was a sense for Lucas. He didn't want to be totally as stressed out as he was during New Hope, so he kind of felt that I want someone else to, have that weight on their shoulders. So that's the biggest change. Also, the addition of Lawrence Kasdan as the screenwriter. And for any movie fans out there, Lawrence Kasdan is famous for directing such movies as The Big Chill, Silverado. He did the Wyatt Earp movie, but an excellent screenwriter. He did he did Force Awakens. I can't remember if he did Last Jedi.
You mean Star Wars: A New Hope Part 2?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But he didn't write New Hope, so who knows? He just probably watched New Hope again and was just like, hey, I got an idea.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely talk about the Disney trilogy, the prequels at some point, because Star Wars is one of the most fluid and ever-changing fan bases you'll ever encounter.
Absolutely.
Like, when the prequels come out, everybody hated on them. But now that the Disney sequels have come out, the prequels are getting all this love and attention. And now that The Mandalorian hit big, the original trilogy is getting all this attention.
Now, real quick, I mean, we were 12 years old when Phantom Menace came out.
Yeah.
I mean, I distinctly remember walking out of Phantom Menace kind of feeling underwhelmed. I mean, even as a 12-year-old.
Because you know what the problem with Phantom Menace is? There are parts of it that are just boring.
And it's
also the delivery of the lines. Even like it's just it's very flat for most of the movie, very emotionless.
Yes,
and I know that's part of like how the Jedi are supposed to be, but there are some great things in that movie though.
I mean, you look back on it now. I mean, Liam Neeson was
great as Qui-Gon Jinn.
Ewan McGregor.
Yeah,
I mean, he grew into the role more. I think he was a little.
It's weird because I love you. I love Ewan McGregor. I think
he's a great actor.
Even in movies like The Island and like his original roles. I hated him in Attack of the Clones, but it's because I did not like how Obi-Wan was written in Attack of the Clones. He was just kind of a jerk.
Well, yeah, he was. I mean, he shows one of the main reasons why Anakin becomes what he becomes.
Yeah,
because he just feels like his teacher just has no respect for him.
Which I hate to say, but like I said,
it felt like that. It kind of.
He's like a sarcastic jerk during it, and then in Revenge of the Sith. I love him.
That's great.
He is probably the strongest part of that entire movie, and I'm very excited for his new show.
Oh, I can't wait.
That'll be a lot of fun.
For the Obi-Wan show, I really can't.
Yeah.
But I mean, to harken on that was, I mean, again, we were 12. I mean, I wasn't. I don't know, but I can't speak for you. Maybe if we were older, I would have had more disdain for the prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
I enjoy the prequel trilogy just because
It's,
it came out at a time in our lives where, you like movies, you're not as...
And also, it was our first time seeing a new Star Wars.
Well, that's true. We weren't alive when Return of the Jedi
like
came out.
I remember going to see the re-releases, and we'll talk about some of the changes in this one and how I'm of the camp that this movie's re-release stuff is better than A New Hope.
I'm on board with that
because they do so much less.
They do so much less. Not as many glaring, like just ridiculous.
And some of it actually worked better.
Well, obviously, to me, the creature at the beginning,
the Wampa,
that's what I was thinking. One. I mean, I thought the way they did him was great
because they were limited at the time, and that's what I want to talk about for this movie's production. So, the big thing about this movie is they not only did they get a bigger budget, but they also. How many years in between A New Hope? 3 years.
Now I don't know about the story. How long it is between?
Yeah, but until they started
between
shooting.
Productions, it's 3 years. This was 1980.
They also had the chance to perfect their craft, more money. Industrial Light and Magic blew up.
Well, he had to actually restaff and ILM. A lot of ILM guys quit after Star Wars. So he had to restaff, but it doesn't show.
No, not at all.
It doesn't show.
I mean, like even the lightsabers alone.
Oh,
and
just that opening scene with the Star Destroyer, it's much more smoother. You definitely sense the difference.
I mean, so let's talk about some of the re-release stuff. So the biggest change is they tried to get rid of some of those the CGI lines. Like when something's imposed on a like if there's a great shot of one of the snow speeders and it's from the cockpit point of view and it's flying under the AT-AT. But you can see those very distinct black lines. That's how that's what they use to fill the effects. They try to get rid of things like that. They just kind of cleaned up most. This was more of a cleanup type movie, but I think the biggest one is the Wampa in the very beginning. Like it looks great, mostly because it doesn't interact with Luke.
No.
The problem with CGI, even as we get so advanced as like Avengers and stuff like that, when it's a CGI character interacting with a real character, it's called,
especially in 1998.
Yeah, it's called the uncanny valley. Your mind knows that it's not real, so it processes it differently. That's why fake faces, especially like the Matrix and even like the Spider-Man trilogy.
Well, even as late as Tron Legacy, when they did the whole
your mind could not process it.
It was just even in that opening scene, Jeff Bridges they make him look younger, but it's clearly CGI. I mean, there's nothing. Obviously now we have like what they did in The Irishman, which yes, it was good. I can't stand the movie, but the effects, the CGI of making them look younger was really good.
The younger effects have gotten a lot better.
Yeah,
Avengers really pioneered that, but they that's easier for your mind to comprehend because it's the same person.
Yes.
Granted, unfortunately, spoiler alert for The Mandalorian, when Luke Skywalker cameos, it's a little jarring.
I've seen the scene, and it's
jarring.
Well, I thought. I mean,
it looks good enough.
It looks good,
but like,
I mean, you're never gonna.
It's when he talks.
You're never gonna get that perfect.
Yeah, especially considering it is Mark Hamill, but there's just such an age.
Oh, I mean, his voice in 19. That's supposed to be post Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So
the Wampa's the big one, and I think it works. It looks really good.
I do too. Then mostly after that, it's like you said, it's more of a cleanup.
So they redid the Emperor's hologram message too.
Yes, because it was not Ian McDiarmid in the original Empire Strikes Back.
It was a old woman with chimpanzee eyes.
Really?
Yep. They superimposed a chimpanzee's eyes onto an older woman. Yeah.
But obviously, in Return of the Jedi, they actually cast the Emperor with
it's so
very
funny
good British actor, and they just went back.
He was so young at the time that they made him look old, and then oh god.
Because I remember in '99 when Phantom Menace came out, he's obviously in the movie, and I remember everybody's going, "Oh, that's going to be the Emperor," and I'm like, "That guy? That guy's going to become that wrinkly Emperor?"
Yeah.
And in the same year, the same actor was in Sleepy Hollow, and I was just like, "Oh, okay,
okay, I can see it."
With the makeup, and he looked older. I was like, "Okay, that makes sense."
Yeah, but they did also change the dialogue. to make it seem like that Vader didn't know Luke was his son, even though they have the same last name. I remember at the time there was a lot of, there's a lot of expanded universe stuff, and they did have a story in between episodes 4 and 5 where they find out who Luke Skywalker was, because it was just an unnamed rebel who blew up the Death Star.
Yeah.
So obviously Luke Skywalker's legend grows, and he becomes a prominent rebellion figure. And
well, you obviously see it, and he's again one of the
Commander Skywalker.
Commander Skywalker. He's one of the lead
and Captain Solo
fighters in the rebellion now. I mean, obviously there wasn't much of them left at the end of New Hope.
I think there was plenty of them left, but then they were on the run. It's so weird saying all this and then thinking of the new trilogy where they basically tried to redo the old trilogy.
I know.
And really, the only one of those movies that works for me is The Force Awakens.
Well, because again, it was the first one.
I despise The Last Jedi. And it's not because I have a problem with what's it called, with trying something new, but I have a problem with just, it's Star Wars. You can't go so far off the reservation. And Luke Skywalker. But we also had changes with Boba Fett, because they had the actor, originally he was voiced by Jason Wingreen, but once they cast Tamura Morrison as Jango Fett and then Boba Fett, they redid all the lines with him, which I don't have a problem with, but because it makes sense. But yeah, have you haven't watched The Mandalorian, correct?
No.
They try to redeem Boba Fett, and now he's getting his own show, and they actually do a decent job. But Boba Fett's a character they introduced in this movie, and he has the biggest cult following ever.
Yeah.
Even though he goes out like a punk in Return of the Jedi.
Well, I mean, he's obviously he's the number 3 major character introduction in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
You have him, you have Lando, and you have Yoda. But Boba Fett is included.
And arguably the Emperor.
Yeah, I mean the Emperor. I mean, to me, the Emperor's more of a character in Return of the Jedi than he is in this movie, because he's basically in one scene, and he's only talked about in New Hope. I've never read any of the extended, lore of Star Wars, so I personally don't see the fascination with Boba Fett, but that's me. I'm in the minority on that.
He has a jetpack. So did the Rocketeer.
Pretty much.
Yeah. What the? Yeah.
I meant to do that.
Oh, yeah. I knew that was coming. But Cloud City had a lot of new establishing shots. They redid the backgrounds.
Especially the scene where Leia's in the room and kind of
and they have
all the different ships flying by and all that stuff. So
just a lot of background stuff.
Yeah.
And then
it wasn't as glaring to me as Duel.
The Tatooine
stuff in Tatooine just annoyed the crap out of me, because it was so too much.
Mm-hmm.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Cloud City, I kind of got. I was like, okay, I can. It didn't seem over the top.
I see a city in the clouds. But yeah, no, I agree. They definitely did much better with this movie. It's Return of the Jedi where they get all the flack for.
Especially the ending.
Yeah, and then a couple of shots added into the ending. Nothing groundbreaking.
Nah.
So this movie takes place also 3 years after the destruction of the Death Star. I didn't realize that.
See, that's one thing they never really harp on, is how long it's been between movies. So I'm wondering if it's also been 3 years between Empire and Return of the Jedi, which kind of is crazy to me. They all know Jabba the Hutt is on Tatooine.
Yeah.
So what? Lando just went to Jabba the Hutt and said, I'm going to work for you, and I'm just going to work my way into your organization, and we'll eventually get Han freed. What?
So let's talk about... All right, so we're going to talk about this. Before we even talk about the cast, the timing, or the timeline of Star Wars movies is ridiculous. A New Hope takes place probably over the course of 3 days. In the time that Luke gets the droids, at least 1 day has passed because he waits a day to go find them. And then we don't know how long they travel through. So light speed means they're traveling at light, obviously, but you don't know how long it actually takes. It could take days for Han Solo to pilot the Millennium Falcon to Alderaan at the time in A New Hope. So really, at minimum,
a week.
Yeah. So A New Hope is very short, but this movie is all over the place. They make it seem like Luke's been training for weeks on Dagobah.
But it feels like it's only been a day, 2 days at the most.
Yeah, because the progression of time is very strange. So you have 3 kind of main stories going on in here. You've got Luke traveling to Dagobah to start his training, or to continue his Jedi training. You have Han, Leia, C-3PO, and Chewbacca on the run after their base gets destroyed. And then you have Darth Vader doing Darth Vader stuff, which I'm all about. I love Darth Vader stuff. So we'll talk about each kind of plot, and we'll talk about the new characters, but I think the longest point of time is when they're actually hiding out on the asteroid and then hiding on Cloud City.
Probably.
I could see a few days on the asteroid, even though they're in a living creature.
I mean, again, maybe.
That's stretching it. That's stretching it.
Maybe a day. Cloud City, I could definitely sense.
I mean, she gets her hair done.
She gets her hair done, but the way they react when C-3PO is missing, they haven't seen him in a while. They don't say, like, we haven't seen him in a week. They were like, we haven't seen him in a while. I feel like if it's been longer than that, they would have been a little more...
Leia says he's been gone too long to have gotten lost.
Yeah, so I feel like, again...
Wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey.
We're throwing...
But it does seem like Luke is on Dagobah for a couple of weeks.
You get that sense.
Because he's like, I've learned so much since I've been here. It's been 14 minutes. You did some flips.
You balanced Yoda on your feet.
And then you dropped him.
You decapitated Vader in a cave that actually turned out to be you.
And then they try and reenact that in The Rise of Skywalker. And I remember seeing that. Remember first seeing that in the trailer with Darth Ray, with the cool like open lightsaber thing. That was that movie's a letdown. But yeah. So let's talk our returning cast.
Cast.
So Mark Hamill reprises as Luke Skywalker.
Absolutely.
Basically, the movie is about him discovering his Jedi training, going to train under Yoda, who's, I would say, one of the most iconic characters in Star Wars mythology.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely, he's up there with...
They originally wanted to train a monkey wearing a Yoda costume to perform it, but they eventually went with the puppet, which...
I've never heard that.
Yeah.
I always heard they wanted a puppet right off the bat.
I've done my research.
Where?
Wikipedia. I'm not even joking. That was the actual site.
I can believe you.
But I really enjoy Luke Skywalker in this movie. He's not the whiny brat.
No, he's definitely matured.
Until it comes time, and this is when it's funny the parallel with him and his dad in the prequels. He gets a vision of his friends being tortured and captured, and everybody's like, Luke, don't go. It's a trap. It's a trap, it is, and then even like Leia's like yelling, it's a trap, and he's like, no, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna do it, I got this, with my little blaster. But his journey is this is when the hero gets knocked down. It's like you said, this is like the part of a play where everything just kind of goes to hell. His story throughout this though is not only do you do see his natural progression, especially he fights Vader. Like, he fights him, too.
He fights Vader. I mean, obviously, you get on Dagobah, you see the similarities between him and his father. Mm-hmm. Yoda points him out to Obi-Wan's, like, anger is in him, just like his father. And this is where the continuity between the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy just kind of, goes all over the place. Because, again, there's no mention of Qui-Gon anywhere in the original trilogy.
Oh yeah, Yoda's the one who trained
Yoda's the one that trained Obi-Wan. Yoda's the one that, semi-trained Anakin, which is, you can live with it because, again, I love these movies, but I remember when...
The prequels were not written at this point. Like, George Lucas probably had ideas.
I know that, but it's like, to me...
Continuity's overrated.
And again, this isn't it. If I were a screenwriter, I'd want that continuity there. Like, it's like, oh, I'm going to come up with this new guy, Qui-Gon, and he's going to be the guy who trained Obi-Wan. And I'm like,
oh, yeah.
Wait, what? Yeah, you told everyone that Yoda trained Obi-Wan.
But you do
Empire.
see that Yoda did train all the little guys.
He
so
did,
I'm sure at some point,
but that's
you can argue
kid.
it. You can argue it.
Okay, fine.
But,
I can argue it.
So let's talk about Obi-Wan and his return, and he's just the worst. He's a pathological liar.
Okay, let's calm down.
From a certain point of view. That's the next movie, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Like,
again, you get the Obi-Wan, because again, in the first movie, he doesn't know where Luke is gonna go.
But
like,
he also
could tell Luke right there, your father's Darth Vader.
You're a Jedi.
You're a Jedi. Or you can be a Jedi.
This lightsaber killed 19 children.
Yeah, pretty much. Here you go. But he doesn't know Luke's mentality yet. You know, he doesn't know what Luke wants to do with his life. Mm-hmm. It took Luke's uncle and aunt getting killed for Luke to decide to go with him. I mean, he was going to go home and he was going to be the good soldier and work on the farm with his uncle and his aunt.
When he was done whining about the Tashi station.
Pretty much. And so obviously then in Empire, you get the scene in the beginning where he's freezing to death and you get the vision of Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan saying, you're going to go to Dagobah and you're going to learn from Yoda, the Jedi Master who taught me. And then you get him again on Dagobah. And he's just pretty much telling Luke, it's like, don't go. Like, you are our last, you need to train here. You can't fight Vader. Mm-hmm. You're not gonna win.
Which is funny because you have to wonder at one point during the Luke and Vader battle at the end, how much of it was Vader just toying with him to see how powerful he really was. Because Luke gets some good licks in.
He gets some good licks in, but not enough. I mean, there's nothing like, obviously, in the fight in Return of the Jedi where he's clearly superior over Vader.
Yeah, because I always think, like, it isn't until Luke hits him in the shoulder at the end that he literally disarms and knocks off his hand in just like a single. Oh, yeah. So part of me thinks that Vader was just testing him. I mean, you get some moments like when he hits him with the smoke at the beginning, or when he kicks him off the platform that they're on. Yep. But then, like, he just starts throwing things with the Force at him. He almost kills him.
Oh yeah, when they crack the window and like the suction pulls him out.
Don't get me wrong, great shot. But Vader was like, "Oops, dang it, not again."
It's like, oh God, I gotta stop doing this.
Michael Jackson made it look easy. Too soon. Yeah. I saw a meme recently where it was the picture of Michael Jackson holding his baby over and it was we didn't know Michael Jackson was trying to sacrifice to get the Soul Stone.
Oh. Man.
Yeah, we should have known. But yeah, I love some dark. We're talking about the darkest Star Wars movie, so let's have some dark humor to go with it. But I really enjoy where Luke ends up at the end of this, where he's still optimistic, he's still hopeful, even though he's got this robot hand that he's poking with a needle. Not gonna lie, like if I were ever to get something like that, I don't know if I'd want it to like feel pain.
Well, it would. I guess it would give you the most feeling of still having a hand. Yeah. I mean, you have a robot hand, but do you feel it? You don't feel anything. I mean, do you want that feeling back? I don't know.
Depends on what I'm doing with it. What's the line of Family Guy?
They did that on Big Bang Theory.
Family Guy too. I'd practice the hot dog first. Yeah. So is this thing good to go? We're still family friendly, sorry. I still am very annoyed that we never found out how Maz Kanata got that lightsaber after it gets cut off.
I don't know.
In the expanded material, not only does the hand get recovered, Luke's severed hand, they use it to make a clone of him, who is evil. Very similar to, you could argue that's where they got the idea for Palpatine in Rise of Skywalker.
It's true.
All clones and genetic experiments and unnatural abilities. God, it's just so bad.
It really is. It really was a bummer.
Oh, what a disappointment.
Disney is really like.
But then you do the Mandalorian and you get the best.
But they didn't do the Mandalorian. I mean, they picked the right people to do the Mandalorian.
Oh, absolutely.
And again, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
We got Harrison Ford coming back as Han Solo, who has grown, he has matured, and his jacket is much nicer.
It's true.
I like long sleeve over the vest. I'll say it. At me.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, especially because they're on a cold planet.
So now, again, it's been 3 years since, since New Hope, so he's been on the run, basically, for 3 years from Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, but at least he's got, like...
I wonder what the interest has made that amount.
See, what bothers me, though, about that? I think they explain it in the expanded stuff. He got the money. Like
Jabba?
Han Solo got that money.
That's what he was packing up at the end of New Hope.
Why didn't he just give it to him?
I was about to say, like, take a break, run over to Tatooine, drop the money off, be like, Jabba, we're good. I'm going to go fight the Empire.
I'm going to go fight the Empire.
Peace
like
out.
a boss.
But it's like, You know,
I think, like I said, in the expanded lore, they did have a reason for it. I think he dumped it, or he lost it, or he actually gave it to the rebellion so that they could build ships.
That makes more sense. That makes
I could see him giving it back
Yeah,
at that
makes
point.
more sense.
You know, the hero. But he has the best line of the entire movie, and arguably one of the best of the series. When Princess Leia says it, "I love you," and he's like, "I know."
And that was an ad lib from Harrison Ford.
Because they said it didn't make sense at that point for Han Solo to say, "I love you too."
Yeah, they just felt it didn't fit.
It didn't fit the character, especially at that point. It made sense in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
But at this point, yeah, it worked. And Family Guy just, he says tells her to F off. It's still funny, but
it's funny.
Yeah, it's definitely. And it leaves him in such a bad spot. He gets tortured in this movie.
He gets tortured, and then he gets the frozen in the carbonite.
Imagine, it would be a great little.
I love the line where he goes, "They didn't even ask me a question."
Oh God! And he still musters up the strength to punch Lando in the face. And we're gonna talk about Lando because I have a lot to say about him.
You have a lot to say about Lando?
I do, because he's one of my weirdly favorite characters, and I'll explain why. But one of the best things that they could have ever done is make a meme where it's like, "Hi, sir, I'm dating your daughter," and then he gets tortured. Because, that's Princess Leia. She does kiss Luke in this. So, speaking of Carrie Fisher playing Princess Leia, who's returned.
She kisses him twice.
Well, this is the second one.
Yeah, no, I know, and she kisses him twice in the movie.
When did she kiss him in the second? No, she only kisses him in the... I'm talking about Luke.
I know.
She only kisses him in the very beginning.
She kisses him at the end where he's, lying in the bed all, beat up and stuff.
Was it in his forehead?
It looked more like his lips, but...
Yikes. Oh, yeah, it was. Dang.
I watched it yesterday. I'm like, oh, she did it again. They're brother and sister.
And also, you just told Han you loved him. You floozy. But
he's frozen in carbonite. She's trying to,
I hate to say that
gauge her options.
Princess Leia has some good moments in this, but it's not till the very end. For the most part, she's just kind of she doesn't get her moment to shine until the end when she's blowing away stormtroopers.
Yeah, she doesn't. I'm trying to think. She's obviously the head, one of the tops of the rebellion. She's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
She's not just there for show. Mm-hmm. She's in the trenches, directing people, trying to get people safe. So she's very much a soldier, in a way. She becomes a general in the new trilogy. So you see the beginnings of that in this movie.
Yeah. I still say it's a shame we never got to see her really be a Jedi.
I know, no, I totally agree. That's one of the I think,
and even more shame that they just gave her a blue lightsaber.
That's one of the more tragic things about obviously her passing away so young, and then obviously
because they originally, in the new trilogy that they made, they wanted each movie to focus on one of those original original trilogy characters.
The first one was Han Solo,
Luke Skywalker,
Luke, and then Leia was going to get hers in the final one.
And they did what they could.
No, they did. They did what they had. I mean, that's all they could do. But I agree with you in a sense that she doesn't get that moment. But she
does have moments.
She's definitely progressed
when she hears Luke through the Force. That's a great moment.
Well, that's obviously the scene where he's taking off from Dagobah, and then again, this is another continuity with Obi-Wan going he's our last hope, and Yoda's no,
there's another.
Obi-Wan, you were in the damn room when Padme was giving birth, so
and then she died of sadness.
It's unless he was just being sexist and he doesn't believe a woman could save the world.
Well, apparently in the expanded universe, he did have a potential love interest that he almost left the Jedi Order for, and I think they actually made it continuity.
Obi-Wan?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Right. When he was training Anakin.
Interesting.
Yeah. So a lot of cool stuff like that. There's a lot of good stuff in the expanded lore. But
Darth Vader.
Darth Vader. So Darth Vader's really he's just trying to capture Luke.
He's on a mission,
and he knows that if he captures Luke's friends, he'll come rescue them.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's kind of the whole.
But he cares about he cares about downing the rebellion. But it's he is pissed that.
Sorry, I'm cracking my knuckles.
He is pissed that Skywalker got the best of him.
And also, he wants him as a weapon to defeat the Emperor.
But does he know yet? I mean, I'm talking more about beginning of the movie.
Oh yeah, no, he's well aware who Luke is. He's trying to catch him. I know in the expanded, we mentioned when they redid the line about Luke being the son of Skywalker. Yeah. In the original, it was just the son of Skywalker can't be a Jedi, and Vader's the one. If we turn him, he could be a powerful ally.
Yeah.
So, and then he says it to Luke. He's like, "We could destroy the Emperor. like you and
No,
me.
I know. Yeah,
like
that's like you
so
and me can.
it's nice to know that
rule the galaxy.
he had an end game that wasn't just his mission.
No, that's true.
So that's really his story, and of course,
But it's definitely, you do get a sense that Vader is much more vicious, powerful in this movie. I mean, he kills the Admiral right off the bat because he comes out of hyperspace way too early.
This is when he starts dropping people for just doing a bad job.
Pretty much.
Work.
I love the scene at the end where Lando, Chewbacca, and them are trying to escape, and they fix the hyperdrive. And the hyperdrive goes, and then you just see Vader's just and everybody. It's kind of like the scene in Spaceballs where they're all covering themselves. This is what they're all looking, going like they're waiting. You know, they're like, "Oh, we're all gonna die right now."
Yeah.
But he just walks off, all pissed.
And we have Anthony Daniels back as C-3PO, who's really just the quote-unquote comedic relief.
Comedic relief, definitely more on the annoying side in this movie.
Way more.
Our Kenny Baker's R2-D2,
who he's better comedic relief in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I love the scene when they land in Dagobah and he falls off, and then just the little piece comes up, and he's just like,
yeah. And he's fun with Yoda too.
And then Peter Mayhew as Chewbacca,
who's again, they don't give Chewie a story until the
I like Chewie more in this movie. He has more, obviously, like, you know,
him and Han are great in the beginning.
Are great together.
Yeah.
I mean, laugh it up, fuzzball.
Oh, love it.
That
scruffy looking nerf herder.
I'd rather kiss a Wookiee. I can arrange that.
Oh, I love it. But and then the newer cast members that we'll talk about, we have Billy D. Williams as Lando, and one of the reasons I like Lando is he was super complex, but at the end of the day, he did what was right.
Yes,
I thought it is weird that at the very last scene he is wearing Han's clothes. They
were probably on the ship. I didn't know where they're clothes.
Still weird. Still very strange.
I don't find it that like.
I still find it a little weird. But
if it's more weird to me that they both fit the exact same size, maybe. But
but you watch him. At first he's doing what's best for his people.
Yeah,
like that's why he makes the deal with the Emperor, who gets there before Han. And also, I'm sure there was a sense of intimidation. Mm-hmm. But then when he sees not only how Han's being, he tries to stop a lot of it too.
Well, right off the bat, he's just like
stop the torture.
Stop the torture. This wasn't part of the arrangement. You weren't supposed to give him off to the bounty hunter.
Yeah,
you know,
this deal's
you told
getting worse
me
all the time.
Leia and Chewbacca were going to be able to stay here,
safe.
Yeah.
This
deal's getting worse all the time. I mean,
and then he finally changes sides, and it's a natural progression. Yeah. It's well written, and
it's a quick progression, but it works. Mm-hmm. You know, you would think something like that. You know, you'd introduce him in the beginning. You're not sure about the character. The movie goes. He has his moment where he, goes against the character, and then obviously you get the redemption in the end. They very much could have easily have drawn him out to the entire movie, but in the half hour that he's on screen, they do it, and they do it well. Yeah. They really handle it in a good way.
The opening scene where he goes to pretend punch him, and then he hugs him. Yeah. It shows a lot of history and camaraderie.
Yeah.
But and then we have Frank Oz as Yoda.
Yoda's my favorite. I love Yoda, the character. Just more, not so much the character in its sense, but just the way they do
such a great job. He feels like a real.
That's the thing, and the backstory with how they did this. I mean, they immediately knew in the story that I guess you could have had like a Kenny Baker cast as Yoda. You could have done that. But
I think what they did with the puppet,
with the puppet, he originally went to Jim Henson. Mm-hmm. Jim Henson was too busy, so he said, Frank is like my right hand. Frank Oz is my right hand man. You should go with Frank Oz. They had another gentleman, I can't remember his name. He created the actual puppet. I think it's like Stuart.
The assistant puppeteers were Catherine Mullen, David Barclay, Wendy Froud, and Deep Roy. What a name.
Deep Roy. That's the guy from the Tim Burton movies, the one who played all the Oompa Loompas in Chocolate Factory.
Why would you say that? But anyway.
Well, because I knew you know who I'm talking about.
Thank you.
But the set of Dagobah, I would kill to see what that set was like, because it's all built
to scale
5 feet above the ground, because you have to have Frank Oz underneath controlling the puppet. And it wasn't just Frank Oz. You had him controlling most, like the arms and the head. You had someone controlling the ears, probably someone controlling the cane, and then you get the voice.
It's iconic. The way he speaks, iconic.
I mean, you sense it in. I mean, obviously, the first time you hear it, you could say, okay, it sounds a little like Fozzie Bear. you hear a little Fozzie Bear, you hear a little Bert in there, but it grows on you, and then obviously it's iconic. It is an icon.
You know, even like some of his lines, "Do or do not, there is no try." Yeah. That is why you failed. Like the forces around us, like he brings a lot of gravitas.
Brings a lot to it,
and I still love him in Attack of the Clones.
Oh.
That scene, we cheered when that scene happened.
I don't remember. Probably not till Avengers. Do I remember a theater exploding in excitement?
I still watch
that and The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight, for different reasons. I think more people were excited for Heath Ledger's performance
when he takes off his mask in the beginning. I remember.
But for a scene of just no one expected that, Attack of the Clones is probably top 3.
Well, speaking of which, we are going to talk favorite scenes of Star Wars, but first we are going to take a quick break. When we get back, favorite scenes from Empire Strikes Back.
Commercial time.
Quick break. Hey guys, today's episode is brought to you by Raise Energy Drinks. Raise is a proud member of Rep Sports, and if you guys are looking for a little extra kick during your day, whether you need to tackle a workout or you need to get over that afternoon slump, you can always check out Raise Energy, and if you get to checkout and you enter the code CINEMATIC, not only will you be getting a 15% discount, but you'll also be supporting the network. So that's Raise Energy with Rep Sports. Code is CINEMATIC, CINEMATIC.
We're back.
You ruined it. We said that, I was hosting the episode, and you're just gonna do that.
I got excited, and I'm sorry.
Why are you holding my hand too?
That's pretty impressive. I'm on the other side of the table. Long arms.
Damn it, long arms. That's a deep cut.
Fun fact: I discovered the name of the gentleman who created the Yoda puppet. His name is Stuart Freeborn.
You said you were going to the bathroom.
I did, and I also Wikipedia'd at the same time.
Wikipedia'd as you peeded it. Yeah.
He actually based Yoda's face on both himself and Albert Einstein's.
And my ex-girlfriend, but anyway.
Wow.
It's okay. She's not listening. But, I hope.
Or is she?
No. But, anyway, moving quite along.
Right along.
We're going to spend, the next 10, 15 minutes just talking about our favorite scenes. When you think Empire Strikes Back, what scenes are the ones that stand out to you? In no particular order, Sean, is there a scene that jumps out at you right off the bat?
Obviously, the ending scene, the fight between Vader and Luke, and then obviously the Luke, I am your father. I mean, that is, to me, that's the scene of the trilogy.
Yeah.
I mean, that is it. That was a curveball to the audience that could have. I mean, I don't think it would have damaged the franchise, but that was a curveball, and I'm not sure how the fans would have reacted to that.
So do you know what they said on set?
I believe in the original script, it was Obi-Wan killed your father.
Mm-hmm.
So now, did they go much farther? They obviously, everything else must have been the same. So Luke, shouts no, and
so I want to say even this, a lot of the crew, because I think they actually said that line too.
I think David Prowse said that scene, and again, very much like in the first movie, David Prowse is actually saying the lines, he's acting out. So it's interesting. Everything else in his mannerisms are the same.
Mm-hmm.
Obi-Wan killed your father, but join me, and
we can rule the galaxy.
We can rule the galaxy. I'm not as father and son, but as
we can get revenge.
I don't know where that would have gone, but definitely, they pulled Mark Hamill aside though before they shot the scene, and they said, "Luke, Darth Vader's your father," which apparently Mark Hamill was like, "Wait, what?
Wait, what?"
So, but that
really,
that is to me the scene that defines the original trilogy.
Yeah. I was gonna say the same. For me, it's more the lightsaber. That lightsaber fight. That is that was the first big lightsaber fight.
Absolutely. And compared to again, no offense to the first one in New Hope, it's just a much faster.
But you know what I like about it? They're broken by the end of it. Even even Vader's having some trouble.
Vader's got some cuts and bruises.
But Luke, unfortunately, the Jedi became superhero levels of power in the prequels, which I don't have a problem with because that is the Jedi Order at its prime. like our current best. But like the only thing that happens to, obviously Anakin gets high ground. But
I have the higher ground.
That still doesn't make any sense, but I still love that scene. Oh god,
that's the best lightsaber fight in the entire.
Oh my god, and the fact that the two of them did it too, like
that...
incredible stuff. But this one, like Luke's like bleeding, his clothes are ripped, he's dirty, like he looks like he just went 10 rounds with Mike Tyson.
Just the scene alone where he's in the ship with Leia, and he's
on life support.
He's beaten to a pulp. Obviously he lost a hand, so he's bleeding. Probably.
Oh, he's cauterized. It cauterized it.
Cauterized it.
Yeah, the heat of the lightsaber. But like, it isn't until like for me, it is one of my favorite. I have maybe my 3 favorite lightsaber moments. Number 1 is might actually be this. Number 2 is definitely the Revenge of the Sith final battle. Number 3 is
Rogue One. Darth Vader.
Hold on, I'm going to talk about that. Number 3 is definitely
Darth Maul.
But
that's a great fight too.
My god! And the battle, Duel of the Fates is one of the best Star Wars songs, or movie songs in general.
Yeah, and I'll keep going.
But I will say though that the scene of Darth Vader in Rogue One and the scene of Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian are tied in level of epicness. Okay. But I don't call them lightsaber fights. That's
true, because they're basically just using the lightsabers to attack, and they're not fighting another lightsaber. I get you there.
But did you see the actual full Luke scene, or just him when he's talking?
No, I saw the whole scene.
It is
it's
chill-inducing.
Yes.
The second I saw that gloved hand and the lightsaber, I was like, oh. And we were all sitting there going, I wonder if they got Sebastian Stan to do this. And then it's actually Mark Hamill. And you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah, that was, again, I haven't seen the show. I know I should, yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. But just that scene, watching that scene, I'm like, okay. That is...
This is what we wanted in The Last Jedi.
Pretty much. Who knows where it's going to go from here, but that was good.
Legendary.
That was very good.
Yeah. But this scene is definitely... top lightsaber fights, just because I feel like this one had so much scope to it. And it's, you mentioned the I'm your father thing. The whole rest of the movies are like from episodes 6 and on, and then 1, 2, 3 are defined by that scene.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that scene it makes everything different. It even changes the last 15 minutes of the movie. Like where Darth Vader's trying to quote unquote kill his son, you're like, oh my god.
Well, he's trying to recruit his son to join him. He doesn't. I don't think he truly. Because I have a sense when Luke lets go and falls off. Darth Vader's.
He reaches for him.
He's a little like, oh, I didn't want that to happen.
I don't remember if it was Family Guy. I think it was Family Guy where Darth Vader just pulls him back up by the Force. He's like, no, young man. Not that easy. It was very funny. Either Robot Chicken or
that
Family Guy.
Sounds more like a Family Guy one to me. But and obviously from that point on, again, there's a gap between Empire and
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. In Return of the Jedi, which we'll obviously focus on more next week, but Luke is hellbent on believing that his father is still in there.
With no indication.
Funny to me that's like from the minute. So between what happens between Empire and Return of the Jedi for him to believe that his father is still alive in there, because he obviously hasn't talked to Obi-Wan's ghost in forever. Because because
he confronts him on it.
I know. He's just like, why didn't you tell me? He's like, well, I technically did, but tomato.
Which makes you wonder how he finished his training.
I don't think. Yes, if Obi-Wan had lived, I think he would have told Luke everything.
Just so you know, Return of the Jedi comes out 1 year after Han Solo has been captured. So it's a year later.
So it's a year later. That makes a little more sense.
That sucks. What a long year. But so those, I think that those scenes.
That's the most iconic scene in the movie for me.
I will follow that up with Luke trying to pull the X-wing out of the swamp.
That's good. Anything in Dagobah, I just love the whole Dagobah.
I don't really dig I get the the quote unquote Darth Vader fight scene he has.
Yeah.
Like it's more of like this is what you're going to turn into if you follow this path. I get it. Like I get all the metaphors and all the significant.
I do like the chase in the asteroid field.
Oh, it's great. And, of course, one of my top 5 movie lines of all time, and I still quote this line whenever I can. C-3PO tells him, the odds of, and he's like, never tell me the odds. I'm like, oh, God.
And the Imperial Walkers.
The opening Hoth scene. Yeah, the Battle of Hoth.
Now, I want to harken on this, because there's not so much a theme. There is a theme in Return of the Jedi, but it's not as, in my opinion, as memorable. But for John Williams to obviously give us the Star Wars theme from the original, then to step it up a notch in Empire with the Imperial March, which is just as memorable. I mean, obviously, for anyone out there who's seen the movie Ted, I love where he's like, I can't find my phone, and she's calling his phone, and then the Imperial March breaks.
Oh, it's from the Notebook.
It's from the Notebook. I mean, that music defines evil, and it's so good, so good. Oh, it really is. I can't. But those are my favorite moments of this movie, definitely.
But yeah, the asteroid field is a really scene. Good one. And tense, so tense.
Oh yeah, and I mean, just again the effects. I mean, they're so good. Them hiding in the asteroid, and it turns out to be a creature.
Yeah, got to get closer. Closer. Oh God, it's so good. Like, this whole movie is just filled. I will be honest. Empire Strikes Back is not my favorite Star Wars movie, but I get why it's the majority of people's favorite Star Wars. I get it. It is deep. It is complex. For me, I do enjoy the happy ending, or like the hero winning ending, which kind of spoils which one my favorite is then. But I get why people love Empire. It is a fantastic movie. Like, I'll never downplay. Like, I'm not going to be one of those Star Wars guys that's like, well, actually, I like Return of the Jedi a little bit better because green lightsabers are superior to blue. No. We here at Cinematic Adventures and our sister podcast, the Multiverse Fancast, we will always look at the good first and enjoy. Like, Star Wars is a franchise that no matter what, no matter how bad it gets, and I'm talking like Star Wars Holiday Special bad, we will still be there on opening night for a new Star Wars project.
Yes.
Sean won't watch The Mandalorian on time, but, he might watch the Book of Boba Fett.
I'm not. Sorry.
I'm going to show you the Boba Fett.
Most overrated character in the history of this franchise.
How about I show you the badass Boba Fett scene, and we'll see if that changes your mind.
We'll see.
Yeah.
No, I do have to watch The Mandalorian. I'm not denying I have to watch it, but I'm just, taking my time.
I was actually against watching The Mandalorian because I am a sucker for the Jedi stuff. I love Jedi stuff, but they finally started really incorporating it in season 2, which is so strange. Yeah. It's like how Arrow didn't do anything with metahumans or superpowers until season 3 or 4. But oh God, I can't stop gushing about this movie. As much as it's not my favorite movie, it's still
because there's so many memorable parts about the movie. But and as there is memorable parts with all 3 movies, but it's. Just because you like New Hope more doesn't mean this movie is not good. It's it's very much like the Back to the Future trilogy for me. I love all 3 movies. It's very hard to put them in order. I could watch any one of them at any point in time.
And I can even argue from episodes 1 to 6, I can say the same about this movie. Yes. I can watch almost any of them. Attack of the Clones, I can watch. Usually, it's the last hour that I really get into.
Well, I mean, to me, it's from about the last hour of Attack of Clones. I can watch Revenge of the Sith, and then obviously watch any of the original trilogy, no problem. I do have to go back and watch Phantom Menace. From front to back.
I've rewatched Phantom Menace. It's weird. The pod race scene actually bores me. Even though everybody applauds the pod.
Well, that was like the most famous scene of the movie. Yeah. Everybody was like,
until the Darth Maul stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. But for the thing about this movie, and I think this is the real thing about this movie that makes it so I can always gush about it. You don't have to defend it. Like I hate to say it. Return of the Jedi, and we'll talk about it more next week. You have to defend parts of Return of the Jedi, mostly the Ewoks.
You got your Ewok fans. You got your It's funny to me why. I mean, I like the hatred for Jar Jar Binks is like. I mean, not only the Star Wars fans hate him, but the not so much Star Wars fans hate him.
The casual fan.
The casual fans love Ewoks. Star Wars fans are kind of like hit or miss on the Ewoks.
It's 50-50.
So it's funny, I never had a problem with the Ewoks. I thought they were funny.
I also, like, I like creatures. It
that's
makes
the
sense.
thing. Yeah,
Apparently, the Ewoks were originally supposed to look like werewolves.
Well, it was supposed to be Wookiees.
Yeah.
But they
couldn't afford it.
They couldn't afford to have that many actors. First of all, to find that many actors that were Peter Mayhew's size was impossible.
Because for the Ewoks, you could do kids.
That's kids, definitely.
Smaller people, like puppets.
Well, Warwick Davis, that was his first movie was Return of the Jedi.
And he exploded.
And he lucked out because Kenny Baker was supposed to play that lead Ewok, Wicket, and he got sick.
Yeah.
And Warwick Davis took over. And,
But now here's the big question. What's your favorite color lightsaber?
I've never been that.
It doesn't if you had your own lightsaber.
I had my own lightsaber.
Sean Barrett's lightsaber.
Green.
Yeah, I dig the green lightsaber. We'll talk about it in Return of the Jedi.
Green's just always been my favorite color.
Yeah, mine too. But there's a technical reason why they have a green lightsaber. We'll talk about that in the next movie. But this movie also really solidified the blue versus red aspects. And obviously, that lightsaber became a crux of the new trilogy, which is a whole other weird story. Sorry we're bouncing around a lot. We don't have anybody actually here to keep us on track.
I know. Melanie, where are you?
She's away for the weekends. But Brendan's gonna listen. Brendan listens to the full episode too, and he'll actually text me things that he likes about it. We love you, Brendan. Check out his YouTube channel. But any other really memorable scenes, even little things like the sound that the probe droid makes. Stuff like that. I think this got an Academy Award for some sort of sound editing.
Sound editing, visual effects. Well, it didn't. I don't think sound editing was actually a category back then. I think Ben Burt, who did all the sounds, he won a special Academy Award for the first movie because there was no
best sound.
It did?
Yeah. For the Academy Awards, he got nominated for Best Original Score. Did not win. Best Art Direction did not win, but it won Best Sound Special Achievement Academy Award. It just says Special Achievement Academy Award. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't know what it is, but it isn't until now that the Star Wars films, especially the original trilogy, are applauded for what they did visually and with effects. It's so strange.
Well, it boggles my mind again how yes, the first one was groundbreaking. It was nothing anyone had ever seen before. Got nominated for all those Academy Awards, and then this movie just kind of gets
the fact that this didn't
technical stuff.
Not even an a Best Supporting Actor. You can argue Darth Vader's a great supporting actor in this.
See, it's very tough with that type of stuff.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
you can't see the actual actor.
Look at what's his name? Peter Jackson. He pushed for Andy Serkis to get a nomination for Gollum.
Yeah,
couldn't do it. It's just until the
technology until
the
Academy catches up.
Well, that's the thing. Until the Academy, comes to their senses and that's a performance that deserves.
Oh, absolutely.
To be recognized with a nomination. Once one happens, it'll happen more frequently. It's just
we were saying that about we had Heath Ledger get one of the first comic book Academy Awards. For Best Supporting Actor, anyway.
Yeah, no.
And then Black Panther got nominated.
Panther got nominated. Obviously, Joaquin Phoenix won for the Joker for his Joker performance.
Which is terrible.
Why is that terrible?
Because I hated that movie.
But did you hate him?
I liked the last 20 minutes of that movie.
Okay.
And I just have real issues with them.
It's funny. It really is how... And again, this is nothing against Joaquin Phoenix. This is nothing against Heath Ledger. They're both fantastic actors in their own right. But the man who brought the Joker to the silver screen first, big budget, Jack Nicholson didn't even get a sniff of an Academy Award nomination.
People don't even talk about it.
Well, that you wouldn't even think a movie like Batman would get a nomination.
It sucks
for that.
too, because comic book movies, which are the most arguably the most successful, genre at this point, which is even crazier.
Yeah.
Even movies like Star Wars, the fantasy type movies. They often get snubbed. Harry Potter, those.
The only one that ever got any Academy love, 100% from the first one to the last one was the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I
don't get it.
I get it, but it annoyed the crap out of me.
It's just three movies of people walking.
Listen, again, I will never say a negative thing about the Lord of the Rings franchise. I think
it's too long and it should have ended 47 times.
Okay, you'll say the negative things. I think Peter Jackson did an amazing job making those movies, but the hype I just thought was too much. And how those movies could get constant nominations, but Star Wars couldn't sniff a Best Picture nomination for Empire or for even Return of the Jedi, how The Dark Knight couldn't get anything, how Harry Potter couldn't get anything. It just bugs me. It just irks me. I'm sorry.
No, I'm with you.
Irks me. But
Sean is irked, everyone.
Definitely think now. Do we want to do star rating?
Heck yeah, we want to do star ratings.
Star rating. So you had New Hope at a 4, I believe, right?
I did.
I had it at 4.5. Brendan had it at a 4.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you fall on this one?
My star rating's gonna be a little weird.
Okay.
Because this is not my favorite movie, my favorite Star Wars movie, but I have to give it a 4.5. I could even push for a 5. I do not give out 5s because I find that there are a lot of movies that have always have room for improvement. It is hard to find anything in this movie that I would want to change.
All right.
Maybe some of the dialogue, especially with C-3PO, but like this movie is like it's tough because my favorite Star Wars movie of all time I'm going to give a 4 to. Like,
but you're also you're.
But I'm taking my emotional aspect.
You're taking emotional aspect out. You're looking at all the aspects of how a movie was made.
Yeah,
that's part of the rating.
This movie is a 4.5, but I could be pushed. When push came to shove, gun to my head, I could say this is a 5.
All right.
I think the only other 5-star movie that I gave out was The Dark Knight.
Okay. I'm pretty much right on par with you.
Yeah.
I gave 4.5 to New Hope. I agree with you. This is a 4.5 with my foot on the pedal of pushing it towards a 5. There's not many. There's nothing I would change in this movie. It takes a franchise that Star Wars was a unexpected phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could easily have just failed expectations with this one. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, they were praying for a quarter of the success
of New
Hope.
I mean,
this movie leaps and bounds went over New Hope.
Well, on that note, this movie, the budget was $33 million,
mm-hmm.
$550 million. Because you know what it is about this movie is, after this movie, everybody said, you have to go see this.
Yes.
And you also have to take into account that this was before the time of online movie reviews and things like that. So if a movie did well in theaters, it was its VHS that would lead to a bigger...
Well, yeah, I mean, this is 1980, so yeah, the VHSs were just about to hit their stride, but this is...
the first time I saw Star Wars was on TV.
I agree. It was for me. It was TV or even VHS. I don't remember. We had the original trilogy on VHS, and this is probably one of those first movies that, the whole don't spoil, aspect. I mean, I know the if you remember, the movie Psycho, they had a whole ad campaign where they pretty much promoted the movies like, A, don't come into the movie late. And B, when you leave the movie, do not spoil it to other people. Yeah. And I'm sure they probably didn't promote it like that, but everybody was, as we joked, the famous Simpsons scene where Homer and Marge are coming out of Empire.
I can't believe Darth Vader was Luke's father.
Oh, thank you for spoiling it.
Shut up, man.
So that's, just to be, again, I wish I was around back then to see these movies first time ever in a theater. I think I would have a lot more love for them. I mean, I love these movies, but to not have that first, sense of that. I mean, for us, the Marvel movies, we saw those. The Harry Potter movies, we saw all those in theaters.
Yeah. Avengers, Endgame.
All of them. So you have that connection to them. It's like, oh, I saw that when that came out. I didn't see these when they first came out. So yes, you have a connection to them because you love them as movies, but to have that extra bit of like, I was in the theater to see this when it was first out, to me, I would have loved to have been able to do that.
I'm just going to start crying a little bit.
But so now it's funny, when I was a kid, I didn't care for this movie that much. Probably because it was such a downer.
Yeah.
You have the first one, which ends on such a high. You have the third one, which ends on such a high. And this one's like, why do I want to watch this one? It ends on it ends on a downer. I don't want to watch it. But as I got older, you're like, okay, this movie is fantastic. I mean, I immediately sense the great things about this movie and the kind of not so great things about Return of the Jedi, even though I still love that movie. But there were definitely some parts of Return of the Jedi that now I look back on going like, but
But I think that's pretty much gonna
wrap us up.
Our discussion. We did have a question on the Cinematic Adventures Facebook page. Today's question was it was favorite/best Star Wars character.
Yoda.
We did have Yoda. We had Han Solo. We had Luke Skywalker and Chewbacca. It's interesting that nobody mentioned any of the original. Any of the newer characters. I will argue that I do like Rey. I do enjoy her character for the most part, and I do feel that Finn really got the short end of the stick.
Finn got nothing.
Finn, they posed him to be like the new hero of this movie, of that movie series, and one like especially after the Last Jedi. But then like in The Rise of Skywalker, he could have had his moment to be like because I think in The Last Jedi The Rise of Skywalker, he kept trying to tell Rey something, and of course the easy assumption is that I'm in love with you, but apparently he was trying to tell her that he could feel the Force. They could have had a great moment, especially when she's fighting Kylo Ren on that ship where he on the hull of the Death Star, where he could have like really tapped into it, because you do see him hold his own against Kylo Ren for a little bit. But wasted potential. We'll do a whole series.
A lot of wasted potential.
Yeah, we'll do a whole series. But so yeah, that's gonna wrap us up for tonight. Now, don't forget, we are gonna be back next week for Return of the Jedi. So make sure you send us your thoughts.
It's a trap.
Not yet. Save it. But I actually think Return of the Jedi is just as quotable as Empire.
I agree.
It's a trap. But so the best way for you guys to get in touch with us, you can find us on Facebook, which is Cinematic Adventures, or our homepage, which is themisfitfaction.com and the Misfit Faction on Facebook. You can also find our YouTube channel. We just released an episode, like we said, with our friend Brendan, showing just the first half of our podcast episode on Star Wars A New Hope. So check it out. You can find us at the Misfit Faction Media Network on YouTube. You can find us at the Misfit Faction on Instagram, Twitter. So make sure if you guys are following us and you like what you hear and you want to hear more content or help support the network, you can definitely check us out on any of those sites or mediums. It really helps the show, especially if you guys are listening to the podcast. You can download. Leaving reviews is huge, so the more you guys do, the more content we can create for you guys. So thank you guys for all your support.
Definitely. Thank you. We really appreciate it.
It's been a lot of fun, and we can, we're actually closing in on 500 downloads.
Shocking.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm shocked.
I know, right? And fun fact, not to downplay our 500 episodes, but Multiverse is about to hit 2,500. So it's been one heck of a ride, and the more. So
you've just been hitting download 2,500 times on your computer?
Yeah, something like that, from every different podcast app. But we actually got a shout out from another podcast.
We did,
yeah, called Waffle Punch. So if you guys haven't checked them out,
for Multiverse or for us?
For the network.
Oh, for the network.
Yeah, so they shouted us out on Instagram, and they do very similar content to us. They did their Star Wars episode. I was listening through it. They're really good, and they're really funny. So if you guys are on any social media, I know I listen to a lot of other podcasts, so if you guys want to hear more like similar content, Waffle Punch, Something Super Podcast, forget the name of it, Superman Saturday Morning Podcast. And I'm a big fan of Jeremy Johns on YouTube. So like we do a lot of stuff where we interact with others. So make sure if you guys are listening to other things, give us a shout out. Let them know that you are listening because you heard it here.
Definitely.
Yeah. So that's going to wrap us up. As always, I'm Paul.
I'm Sean.
And we'll be back next week for Return of the Jedi.
May the Force be with you.
And also with you.